Good evening, everybody. I'm Scott Binsack, and thank you for joining me. First, I want to thank everybody for all your thoughts and prayers. And if my voice sounds a little different, it's because I had bone surgery on Friday, actually on this side, and I have to wear this special retainer for my teeth. I'm going to be having extensive mouth work done over the next 2 months now that they have removed all this bone in here and packed it with artificial bone. So I want to thank everybody for all your thoughts and prayers and emails and messages, and apologize for my lisp in my voice, but it is because of wearing this retainer type wonderful thing. It's great to get, old and have your teeth all fixed, and it's life, it's life. Today, I broke some exclusive news, and I want everybody to know I'm going to be sticking to this story. I have been informed that Donald Trump will be charged with obstruction of justice, and that's what Mueller is going after. Not just that, along with money laundering and other charges. Many people will scream and shout and say it's lies and made up and I'm crazy and whatever. I don't care. I'm going to stick to that. I'm also going to say that this memo that is to be exposed is really a big nothing burger. And the reason why I want to say that is I want to explain something to you, everybody. This is a highly classified document. And reading it by itself, without the other documents that are highly classified attached thereto, I should say referenced therein, and thus attached thereto as part of it, will not be released. So, as troubling as it may seem, and it was all done by far right, this memo, and it refers to other top secret documents that if they are going to unseal this document for the public, and no, Alex Jones does not have this memo. That is a fake news story, and that memo that he does have is something 8 months old. But please understand what I'm saying to you. They have to, if they're going to unseal this memo, they need to unseal all the classified documents that it refers to and where it got its information attached, to come up with this memo, because if they do not, by itself, it's really just hyperbole and speculation, but you need the other documents, and they will not unseal those other documents because, and they may not even unseal this memo. Trump may, but he should unseal all the rest that go with it. And the only reason why Trump's doing it is a distraction for the far right to stay away from what's coming. Hillary Clinton will be going down as well. At least the Clinton Foundation, and I'm sure Hillary's going to go with it from what I'm being told as well. There is a lot going on in this country, and it is exactly where I said it would be, in a constitutional crisis, as well as a deep state war is going on. Americans need to understand that this is really a deep state war, and both sides are dirty. And the two-party division needs to end. Is that likely? No. But that's where they want everyone to be. Divided, distracted. And the nervous thing for everyone with this is, I'm going to be straight with you. Donald Trump being backed into a corner where he's about, also his lawyers are in negotiation for him to be questioned. And even if he says no, just like Bill Clinton, he could be subpoenaed to the grand jury and have to testify before the grand jury, and he has no protection at all. Mueller already has all the evidence he needs, and now we have information coming in, and no, it's not from CNN, I broke it before that Bill Gates, Paul Manafort's partner, also indicted with Paul Manafort, has flipped and has cut a deal to testify against Manafort and Trump. So, pay attention. And that should push. Manafort is stupid. He has an opportunity to not go to prison for the rest of his life. But he's under the assumption that Trump is going to pardon him, as well as he's afraid of the Russians killing him and or his family and everybody involved. Trust what I tell you. And not ratting. Bill Gates, on the other hand, well, he's cutting a deal. And he most likely has already cut that deal. People in this situation do not want to face the facts. They want to face all this madness from Q and Anon and Jones and everybody. And people come back to me and go, well, you said that Kushner's going to be indicted. He is. He is. And let's just say maybe he is already indicted and it's sealed. There's a much more to this. It's like two parts. So you get obstruction of justice with Trump and then the rest of these guys, part of it. And they're also going after the money laundering part. As Bannon has also said, I've said from the beginning this was about money laundering. And it could go far back because they want to show all the ties with Trump to Russia. Hillary Clinton, same thing with the Clinton Foundation and her pay for play. And that with Uranium One and all the above. Both sides are dirty. And I believe the swamp should be completely drained on both sides and pull the plug and let them all go down, including all the corrupt senators and congressmen with them. And anybody in the FBI, DOJ, former or present, also need to go. Okay, Loretta Lynch, all of them. Bye. But this is not, I'm not for left or right. Period. End of story. The house of cards is definitely falling, everybody. And basically, it's played out the way I've said it's going to play out. And it's going to, this last piece, though, but towards the end here, all depends upon what the next move is by the president, because I believe there's going to be a massive distraction. Possible huge false flag at home to start a major war. And if they allow him to do it is the other question. Or Deep State does it. People have got to stop following this lunacy. There's the word I want. Lunacy with the regards to the rest of this shit. Okay. Guilty people plead guilty, cut proffer agreements, not on made-up information. I said it in my car video earlier today. Okay. I don't care what side you're on, pay attention. The law is the law and the facts are the facts. It doesn't matter what's in that memo from the FISA court. But I'm going to tell you, it started with Manafort and his calls. Manafort's so dirty, you should be calling him Pigpen. Okay? That's how dirty Manafort is. And Manafort, one way or the other, is going to spend the rest of his life in jail, or he's going to turn major rat and end up in witness protection. And I don't mean just against Trump. I'm talking about other people involved in this with Russia and things like that. He has a lot. I would rather all this just to be broken open for both sides, get it out of America's life, and let's start over, restart. We need a restart button in this country. So, I'm just saying. Before I get into the world news, I want to go over this good article that was in on Zero Hedge. A second, let me just pull it up here. They got so many ads on these damn. Wait till you see MFA News. I'm going to run through our private forum at the end of the show as well. Just show it off and show everybody. The apps are being wrapped up. One is already in the Play Store. The others are coming. We're just working some bugs out on the site and things of that nature. But I want to go over this article. It's really, really key. Let me just bring it into focus here. Retired Green Beret warns the public attention is being diverted from what is really happening. The Russian surveillance vessel, the Viktor Lenov, was reportedly leaving the Caribbean over the weekend, bound toward the U.S. East Coast. Florida will be reached by next Friday, and before this, the Kings Bay ballistic missile submarine based in Georgia is also along their projected route. For anybody asking, this is a Russian surveillance vessel. It's a spying vessel that we know of. This comes on the heels of what has gone largely unreported by mainstream media. On Friday, January 19th, a report from U.S. National News emerged entitled Submarine Off New Jersey, Delaware, Maryland Coast. U.S. Navy deploys 9 anti-submarine aircraft off East Coast, fearing sub-missile launch against U.S. Here's an excerpt. I'll leave the link to this down below. East Coast off the United States. This article has a lot of good pictures, subs involved in this. The planes involved in the plane routes. The East Coast of the United States may be subjected to attack by submarine-launched missiles, and the U.S. Navy has scrambled numerous P-8A Poseidon anti-submarine aircraft to repeatedly search coastal waters from New York City to Washington, D.C. all day Thursday into Thursday evening. According to flight records, at least 9 anti-submarine warfare aircraft were sortied Thursday off the U.S. East Coast, and flight records show they were engaged in a very active hunting for submarines off the East Coast, well within the 12-minute territorial limit of the United States. 12-mile territorial limit of the United States. The article, as I said, has plenty of photos and some with the locations of CAP, which is Civil Air Patrol, enlisted to aid the U.S. Navy with the shortfall in radar coverage and area surveillance. The article also goes into the deposition of numerous aircraft and shows the locations monitored of Russian submarines. Now, while that's happening, statesman Rex Tillerson just came out and declared that at Stanford University on Wednesday, January 17th, as reported by RT News, the Japanese have had over 100 North Korean fishing boats that have drifted into Japanese waters. 2/3 of the people on the boats have died. The fishermen, are being sent into the wintertime to fish because of their food shortage. They're being sent out to fish with inadequate fuel to get back. So we are getting a lot of evidence that these sanctions are really, really starting to hurt, Tillerson said. Honorable Secretary of State Tillerson, pure statesmanship, pure diplomacy. No pure extortion. This coming from a country, the U.S., that wanted to depose Assad for the brutal human rights violations against civilians, but when it involves the civilians of a country we want to crush, what are a few hundred starving North Korean fishermen's lives worth? Hey, the sanctions works. We oust leaders for human rights violations, but our policies and sanctions are humane and altruistic. Let them join the IMF and World Bank, become a vessel, then they can shop at Costco, then let them eat cake, referring to North Koreans. North Korea has the resolve to see through any paper tiger sanctions initiated by a country that is a dying empire backed up by a toothless UN. Now, very important what I'm going to tell you. China and Russia have the resolve to be positioning their assets now. If you remember, for some time, I have been discussing with you that sometime about to pay attention to the U.S. dollar. It's eventually going to collapse, and it's coming very soon, and that China is holding all the gold cards, and so is Russia. Okay? Along with, obviously, the Rothschild family and the world banking empire. However, pay attention to this. Just about a week ago, the RAF had to scramble typhoons to escort Russian bombers conducting practice runs along the Cold War routes they cover the UK. A very in-depth article came out that reports Russia and China to be skeptical, here it is, very key, concerning the United States gold supply. They're skeptical that the U.S. does not have the gold that it says it does to back up. You follow what I'm saying? Now, another form of warfare is, as I've told you for a very long time, is economics. Should they prove, Russia and China, the U.S. to not have on hand the gold reserves it claims to have, or as it states, that the gold is or inferior quality to the traded by the rest of the world, this may very well be the final kicker to persuade nations to distrust the falling petrodollar, i.e. our money, U.S. dollar, and remove the dollar as the world currency exchange. Pay attention to this very key thing. This would trigger World War III right here. Okay? Such would establish the positions of gold-backed rubles and the and the yen, that also have oil to trade to further bolster the worth of the global economy. For all those who still watch television, enjoy your football in the upcoming Olympics. But keep this in mind. The powers that be will not rest in their inexorable march toward global government. In other words, the Rothschild family in the New World Order will not rest with Russia and China having control and having oil, the petrodollar, traded in rubles and the yen. This is where war is going to break. Why war is going to break out. And someone here along the line is going to get a false flag and we're going to start to launch. It's about money. It's about control, and it's about the dollar collapsing. It would not be the first time that the bread and circuses were used to keep the mob entertained and distracted from the sinister actions and purposes of their leaders and governments. In other words, look over here. Well, this is what's going on over here with the great distractions. In the meantime, other nations are preparing and positioning their forces, as well as conducting intelligence and surveillance on us prior to the war that may come at any time. Please pay attention. China, Russia, Iran are preparing for war. I mean, like World War III. Heavily preparing for war. If the politicians are any indicator of how we'll fare, the prognosis doesn't look good. All of it can be avoided with diplomacy. But war is a moneymaker and a game changer for an incumbent whose ratings are flagging, i.e. Donald Trump. War is their solution. Why? Because they live off our labors and our tax dollars, ensure they'll be safe and sound in their bunkers. Hey, well, we'll be safe and sound in our bunkers too. Their world, opulent feasts, riches, maintaining power, with our armies and unlimited resources, it will remain intact. Ours will not. Bravo to this article on Zero Hedge. It is straight down to earth, wham! Right there. All of it. We are preparing for war. We are preparing, meaning not just us, the world is preparing for war. Serious, serious war. I'm going to get into the world news.
Clashes and fistfights broke out in Germany's Hanover airport on Monday during a demonstration against Turkey's military operation in Syria. In the video, protesters can be seen holding signs and flags of Iraqi Kurdistan, red, white and green, and the Rojava, yellow, red and green, and can be heard chanting fascist Erdogan. Rojava is the Kurdish name for northern Syria. Around 20 people were involved in the dispute, with 2 suffering minor injuries. The situation was quickly brought under control. Turkey launched a cross-border attack on Saturday on the region of Afrin, aiming to crush the YPG, a Syrian Kurdish militia that has been the principal military ally of the United States on the ground against Islamic State.
نرفض نهج الامريكان نرفض نهج الامريكان حييه امريكان راسك حييه والقصه بتبدا من بعيد والقصه بتبدا تعمل ايه والسفاره بتعمل ايه وكل الطاقم CIA
All over the world, people are erupting. And it's only going to get worse. It's like everywhere. Netherlands, Spain, Greece, U.S. Even in Honduras. Italy. Denmark. France. Germany. Civil unrest all over the world, growing. Against Erdogan.
Müssten die Beziehungen zur Türkei, und ich freue mich jetzt ganz besonders, und das ist mir ein Herzensanliegen, wenn ich den von uns ziehen, überall
Sozialdemokratische fehlt hier vollends. Im migrationspolitischen Teil.
Heute einen tollen Tag. Ja, und ich hoffe.
Women's March, not just in Germany, in the United States. Again, hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people with the, pussy hats. Here we go. All over the world this took place. One thing I gotta say, these liberals know how to get together and march. You don't see any Republicans marching for Trump anywhere. There you go. All over the U.S. as well. This one here is a straight terrorist holding that sign. But I got to give it to them. They can get organized and hundreds of thousands of people come out. If Americans would do this for America, not for a party, we would take control back of this country. Real simple. More Italy marches.
Mi dicevano gli attivisti, I pacifisti, il fratellino morto sulle spalle. Ora noi abbiamo questa modernizzazione
Florida.
What do we want? When do we want it? Now. Hey, hey. Ho-ho. Are you going to pass me? No KKK, no fascist USA! No Trump! No KKK, no fascist USA!
I want to say something. One of our members, Monica, says, here everybody wants to get paid, then they will show up. Well, pay attention. You see these people in the United States? They're not paid for nothing. The Women's March, they support themselves. Donations, and they show up, and they do it, just so you know. That's a fact. The Women's March has grown into a multi-million-dollar enterprise, just so you know. And people show up, and people protest, and I got to give them that. The far right, the right, Republicans, nada, nothing, zero. Americans in general, to stand up against a two-party system, nada, zero. Nada, zero. This is my point. When America wants to change, America will uprise. Americans will uprise, and they will say no more. But until that happens, well, you're stuck with this. Vagina flappers and pink hats. But you got to give it to them. They do organize, and they put a thing together, and they show up, and they protest. Protesting is peaceful, Monica. Okay? It's peaceful. It's supposed to be peaceful. Right? This isn't violent. There was no violence in any of this. Not one. There was no violence in this. Okay? I don't care what you want to call them. Disgusting hoes. I don't want to care if you want to call them. I don't care. But when you get close to a million of them across the United States on the same day together marching, that says something. And you know what it says? At least they can organize and they stand up for their beliefs. Pay attention. You don't see anyone else in this country standing up and doing that. Liz, there is no Antifa. It's all BS. Just like November 4th. You know, Alex Jones and all them, that great big Antifa November 4th. Where was that? Antifa's nothing. Antifa's bullshit. It's a bunch of kids running around with freaking, hockey masks on. They haven't done shit. They're great big uprising and all this shit. Not one disruption in any of these marches. Not happening. It's all bullshit. I've heard every excuse under the sun in the past almost 2 years of why people don't stand up in this country. I've heard every excuse. Well, we're not paid. Well, they're paid. We're not. They have jobs. They don't have jobs. We don't. We do. I've heard it all. It's all bullshit. It's all bullshit. It's all bullshit. I've heard it all. I hear it all for people who want to make a change and do a difference in their life. Okay? Or they want to change and make sure that their survival and their future is good in this country and in the world. You either do it or you don't. It's not if or should I or shouldn't I, whatever. Wait, when you get your phone and it says, by the way, there's a missile incoming like happened in Hawaii, pay attention. Pay attention. You better have somewhere to go. or another earthquake pops off, you know, what did I tell you? We're going to start to get up in the 9s, right? Yeah, well, Alaska, Pacific, big recent quake, over 8 and change. They're going to keep getting worse. We've just been fortunate that they have not triggered a massive tsunami, these big quakes. Because it's coming. And where are you going to be then? Where are you going to know where to go? You're going to have a phone when the cell system goes down? You're going to be able to communicate with your family when the system goes down? What are you going to do? What are you going to do when the stock market crashes? Because it's coming. Pay attention to what I just told you about gold, China, Russia, New World Order. Petrodollar. Very key. Very key. All I hear is excuses from everybody. Excuses. I've heard it all. I've heard it all. If I made excuses for the shit that I had to do in my life, I wouldn't be where I am today. You know what I say? And people don't like my language sometimes. I don't give a shit. Fuck excuses. Either do it or don't do it or shut up. That's why I hate New Year's Eve resolutions. Oh, January 1st. It's that New Year, New Me bullshit. Oh, yeah. No, if you want to change your life, you change it today. You want the truth? You seek it and you'll find it. Fuck. People got rocks in their head today. Brian, it'll be too late when Americans get pinched into a corner. We're already in the corner now. And if people haven't stood up, okay? If people haven't stood up by now, these people, okay? I don't care what they are. You know what they are? I got to give it to them. I'm not going to say it again. You got to give them the respect of what this serious thing. They organize, they get together, and they execute. It's like carrying out a business plan. It's like carrying out a life plan. You either do it and execute it or you don't. Israel, pay attention. Benjamin Netanyahu, pack your shit, they're saying. Pay attention.
On the day he would become the first US vice president to address Israel's parliament, the Knesset, Mike Pence was greeted with almost presidential ceremony by Israel's prime minister. He didn't take long to return the favor.
My great honor, on behalf of the President of the United States, to be in
this guy's such a kiss ass. And the other one over here, Netanyahu, he's dirty as hell.
A description of Jerusalem that Pence would repeat 3 times during his set-piece event. But not before he was interrupted by Israeli-Palestinian members of the Knesset decrying the US position and any prospect of US involvement.
Right in Parliament.
Their enforced departure cleared the way for Pence to speak to 2 other audiences, Israelis and US evangelical Christians, for whom the Jerusalem Declaration was a major campaign pledge.
In the weeks ahead, our administration will advance its plan to open the United States Embassy in Jerusalem. And that United States Embassy will open before the end of next year.
Pence has said that his faith largely determines his long-standing backing for Israel. This speech fused that religiosity with, as offered, the near-total political support of the Trump administration for the government of the watching Benjamin Netanyahu, including its position on Iran.
I have a solemn promise to Israel.
Yep.
To all the Middle East and to the world.
Pence is done too in all this, trust me.
The United States of America will never allow Iran to acquire a nuclear weapon.
Pay attention.
He said the US
next message, war, Iran.
If both Israelis and Palestinians agreed,
North Korea.
Security could be guaranteed and put the onus on the Palestinians to come to the table.
Mr. Trump gave them Jerusalem. I mean, what an honest broker that is who wants the deal of the century, in which Jerusalem plays a major role.
Above all, this speech threw into sharp relief the different realities which the United States and Israel on one side and the Palestinian leadership on the other are now operating in. For Palestinians, this was further damage after Donald Trump's December declaration, further evidence the United States could not be an honest broker. For Israeli ministers, they were calling it emotional, inspiring, even Zionist. Netanyahu later added his voice
Zionist,
to the
pay
magnificent
attention.
speech. In particular,
And this is nothing against the good Jewish people. They're like Americans like us, being sold down a river.
Expression of the enduring bond between our two countries and of your personal commitment to Israel.
This guy, total dirty here. Netanyahu already being indicted in
On the
Israel.
first full day of his visit, Mike Pence has earned the fulsome praise of his hosts and the ever stronger rejection by Palestinian leadership of any U.S. role in the resolution of this conflict. Harry Fawcett, Al Jazeera, West Jerusalem.
Climate change took its toll on 2017, making it one of the warmest years on record, and the U.S. most expensive disaster year ever. As the warming trend continues, researchers are exploring if solar geoengineering might slow it down, but they're finding it might actually do more harm than good. Solar geoengineering involves reflecting more sunlight back into space, so the planet cools down. Scientists think if it's done together with reductions in greenhouse gas emissions, it might offset some of the effects of climate change. One of the most popular and feasible methods involves spraying sulfur dioxide into the upper atmosphere to form a cloud that would reflect solar radiation. This is similar to what happens during large volcanic eruptions. Models have shown this technique might not only help cool the planet, but could also reduce melting of sea and land ice, slow down sea level rise, and make it easier for plants to absorb carbon dioxide.
You hear what they're doing? They're trying to slow down the heating of the planet and the melting. Okay? Pay attention.
But the risks might outweigh the benefits. Some models show if we start sulfur seeding and then abruptly stop for some reason, the planet might actually begin rapidly heating up, far faster than if seeding hadn't been used at all. The warming could be disastrous for ecosystems, especially fragile ones in the polar regions. Other studies have found sulfur seeding might also lead to substantial ozone depletion, reversing the slow natural repairs to the ozone hole above Antarctica. So before we go spraying aerosols into the sky, we might want to seriously weigh as many risks and benefits as we can. Scientists won't know all of geoengineering's implications until it's underway.
Pay attention to this. Pay attention. Wham.
Most of the world's volcanoes are found around the Pacific Ocean's Ring of Fire, a meeting point of tectonic plates and an area of intense seismic activity. Tectonic plates are massive slabs of rock making up the Earth's surface. Constantly moving on a hotbed of magma, volcanoes form in two ways at their boundaries. Plates sometimes collide, causing one to slide beneath the other. This is called a destructive boundary. Pressure and heat created by this movement force magma up into the cracks in the rocks until it explodes to the surface as lava, causing a volcanic eruption. Molten rock, debris and gases from the Earth's interior are also emitted, either from the main crater or from secondary vents. Plates can also move away from each other at so-called constructive boundaries. In this case, magma rises to fill the gap, creating a new crust. When this happens under the sea, volcanic islands are eventually formed. Volcanic activity can also occur underneath tectonic plates in areas known as hotspots, when magma escapes through localized melted molten rock. In terms of activity, volcanoes are extinct when they haven't erupted for tens of thousands of years, dormant when they're temporarily inert, and active when they regularly churn out gas or lava.
Pay attention. The whole core is heating up and it just...
Schools were closed and flights were canceled in Albay province as the Philippines' most active volcano threatens large eruption. The Philippine Institute of Volcanology and Seismology, PHIVOLCS, has raised the alert level for Mount Mayon from 3 to 4 after it spewed a tower of ash column on Monday, January 22nd. Level 4 alert means imminent hazardous eruption, which PHIVOLCS say can happen within weeks or even days. PHIVOLCS extended the permanent danger zone to an 8-kilometer radius. Mount Mayon has been acting up since January 13th. Since then, some 40,000 people have been evacuated, and the province of Albay has been placed under state of calamity. Albay's governor has advised residents to stay at home and be alert. According to PHIVOLCS records, Mount Mayon has erupted 51 times since 1616, the latest one in 2014. For United News International, I'm Mila Uni.
Pay attention. Mount Shireen. Pay attention. Strong 6.0 magnitude quake strikes off the coast of Java, Indonesia.
A tsunami warning was issued after a magnitude 7.9 earthquake struck in the Gulf of Alaska. The major earthquake struck roughly 175 miles southeast of Kodiak, Alaska, early Tuesday. The U.S. Geological Survey initially recorded its strength as a magnitude 8.2, but later revised the reading. As of early Tuesday, there have been no reports of damage, but the quake did cause a tsunami. The National Weather Service issued a tsunami warning initially, but later downgraded it to a tsunami advisory, only impacting parts of the Alaska coast. A tsunami watch for the entire west coast of the U.S. was also canceled. Officials recommend those in the advisory area should stay out of the water and move away from the coastline.
Move away from the coasts.
O sea, qué tipo de agua estamos nosotros generando y qué tipo de condiciones ambientales estamos provocando. Realmente estamos creando un colapso ambiental, estamos generando una situación que realmente nos va a costar carísimo, le va a costar carísimo a nuestras futuras generaciones, porque lo que les vamos a heredar es un ambiente invivible.
Pay attention. Pay attention. Mugshots are worthless. 80% of the people who came down with the flu this year have been vaccinated.
Children of the Asmat tribe in Papua, barely alive. Their bodies exhausted and weak from hunger and disease. Undernourished, they're battling against outbreaks of measles and chickenpox. Military medical teams have arrived in some remote areas. Maria Epam and her husband Linus had to travel for 5 hours and feared their 6-month-old daughter would not survive.
Our daughter has been in this bad condition for quite a while, but only now have people come to our village to help.
Ella Kakaer is 5 years old, but her body is less than half the size of a healthy child her age. Villagers say 29 children in her village alone have died.
People in this country should learn to count their blessings and not be so damn greedy, selfish, nasty, angry, hateful. Pitiful bastards they are. Unbelievable. People, we got it good in this country. And from somebody who's traveled around the world, trust me, we got it good in this country.
We rowed our boats to a health post in another village, but when we arrived, they rejected us. Some of our children made it there alive, but some died. We buried them there. Others died on the way. We buried them next to the river.
Villagers tell us that local authorities never visited their village even after a measles outbreak was reported last September.
Yes, we have very limited means and staff, but this doesn't mean we are trying.
People dying, children dying from the measles? Come on. The measles. People are dying from the measles in these countries. There's cures for these diseases. Nobody should be dying on this world from measles or any of those type of, outbreaks, or even the freaking flu. But see, they're using the flu as a killer. More people die every year from the flu than anything else, just so you all know. So, pay attention. The flu is going to get worse and worse and worse. And they're already talking about calling for, it's just ridiculous. Completely ridiculous. All bullshit.
Trying very hard. What we need is not just to be criticised, but real help. Those who criticise us, I want to invite to work here.
Church officials estimate hundreds of children of the Asmat tribe have died so far, but many deaths have not been reported.
Siapa yang pernah peduli? My question is, does anyone really care about these children who are dying? Does anyone want to go there and get real data about their condition? And why do we only now say this is a problem?
The Asmat tribe is best known for its past history of headhunting and cannibalism and living off the forest. But introduced to modern life and money, they are struggling to survive without government aid. For 4 months, they desperately have tried to find help, but their cries to save their children's lives fell on deaf ears. This health crisis shows that government assistance is not reaching poor Papuans living in these forgotten parts of the archipelago. While help has come for these Asmat children, many others remain in their remote villages. Their only hope is help will arrive in time. Step Fasten, Al Jazeera, Agats, Papua.
Nearly every child in Yemen needs humanitarian
Pay
assistance.
attention. This is horrible.
That's what
And you can blame the Saudi Arabia and the United States for this problem. No one else.
Worse is their inability
Right here.
to
Saudi Arabia, United States.
loved ones.
This hospital is very crowded. We cannot get the needed medicines.
For this very reason, we buy some medicines from outside. We want the government to help this hospital, just to improve the general medical conditions.
This is just one of 2 state hospitals left in Yemen's coastal Hodeidah province. But doctors cannot offer much, as the hospital has run out of money.
There is a noticeable increase in malnutrition cases due to the blockade and the aggression. Many hospitals have become out of service in Hodeidah.
Blockade by Saudi Arabia. And the United States can force them to undo that blockade at any time. Do they do it?
Scarcity of equipment.
No.
We have made urgent appeals for finding a solution. Medicines are very expensive now. Prices have skyrocketed due to the deteriorating economic conditions. And the blockade has added fuel to the fire.
It's been almost 3 years since that fire began, with a Saudi-led coalition bombing Houthi rebels in 2015. The conflict has since destroyed buildings, infrastructure, and lives. The humanitarian situation here in Yemen is considered one of the worst in the world. Yemenis are now encircled by starvation, poverty, and illness.
And these people, let's get something straight. The Yemenis people have done nothing to anyone. These people have done nothing to anyone. They're caught in this nightmare. U.S., Saudi Arabia going at with Iran, with the Houthi rebels, this is madness. And this is being caused by a blockade by Saudi Arabia for food, medicine, supplies into Yemen. And the U.S. could stop this at any time. And they do not. And people want to talk about other countries who are led by, let's just dictators around the world. We are the worst. For the great diplomatic country we're supposed to be and humane country we create this nightmare. And the ISIS and the terrorists and everything involved here. Madness.
Treatment twice a week, but now because of the blockade, the crowd at the hospital, and the lack of medicine, I only have the treatment once a week.
The UN has called for the lifting of the blockade and unconditional access for humanitarian aid. But it seems the chance of that happening here is as little as getting proper medical treatment. Rahul Radhakrishnan, TRT World.
The UN says $3 billion will be...
Sherry, that's not true. When the U.S. just dropped care packages and all this shit, the rebels are taking them? Horse shit. Horse shit. Just like the U.S. drops weapons in the middle of Syria, right? And then ISIS just comes by and steals them, right? Hell no. Hell no. Satellite images that Russia and China have already provided prove in Syria we are aiding ISIS and other rebels. The same thing goes with Yemen. Our CIA is running Yemen. Trust what I tell you. They're there running Yemen. This is a nightmare. It's a proxy war. That means we're at war, really. The U.S. is at war with Iran via Saudi Arabia in Yemen. It's a proxy war, just like in Syria. We're really at war with Russia in Syria and Iran via a proxy war of Syria. So please understand what that means. Evil is everywhere. You want to put it let's put it out there. And the other big powers, China, the new superpower, and Russia, are ramping up for a major war to protect themselves. Listen to what I'm telling you.
Needed if Yemeni children are to stop eating out of dumpsters.
Eating out of dumpsters.
To provide health, sanitation, and basic necessities.
People in this country are doing this.
Desperate for humanitarian
just like this.
aid.
People in the United States are doing just that. Eating out of garbage cans and dumpsters, ex-military. It doesn't. People have had jobs. The homeless rate in this country is just voop, 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 voop. I'll tell you what. God's got to be so pissed off that he's turning it around in heaven, up there, and there really is a God. Madness everywhere.
Half of that $3 billion has been promised by Saudi Arabia as it continues to carry out attacks in Yemen.
Look.
It's targeting Houthi rebels, but rights groups say most of those dying are civilians.
It's not just the people who die directly because of the war and the conflict itself. It's those people who die those silent deaths in their villages or in their towns where they haven't been able to access good health or access medical facilities and die for preventable diseases, especially children.
The conflict in Yemen is complicated. The calm in the port city of Aden deceptively hides a political storm brewing between opposing parties supported by the same coalition. UAE-backed southern secessionists are threatening the Saudi-backed and internationally recognized government. The secessionists have fought for control of air and sea ports. Now southern forces led by the man appointed by President Hadi as the governor of Aden have announced the beginning of the process to overthrow the Hadi government.
This is just what our CIA loves to do.
We reject the deployment of any northern
throw over the government.
South, while we appreciate
overthrow
their
the government
role and the necessity of forming northern resistance forces to fight the Houthis in the north.
Aden is the de facto capital of the Hadi government, but President Hadi has been based in Saudi Arabia due to security concerns. His Prime Minister Ahmed bin Dagher has struggled to control southern Yemen despite support from Saudi Arabia. The US gives logistical guidance at the Saudi military headquarters in Riyadh, as well as selling them weapons.
Of course we do.
A role in Yemen.
Sell them weapons, do everything in the United States. Your tax-paying dollars.
Would tilt in favor of the Iran-backed Houthi rebels.
Taxpayers' dollars. This is where it goes in just one case.
In the complicated chess
this should disgust everybody, as Randy says. Hunger, sure damn should.
Yemenis just want to end, regardless of who can make that happen.
Now, if that happened to a child in the United States, right, at the hospital, and it wasn't taken care of, right, what would happen? Oh, my God, there'd be national outrage. National outrage. But there's no national outrage when our tax-paying dollars go to feed shit like this around the world. Syria alone, 600,000. You want to talk about the people go, there's no depopulation agenda by the New World Order or U.S. participating. Are you kidding me? Shit. Millions of people die every year from this war, collectively. War, diseases, famine, everything. In 2018, no one should be starving on this planet. You got to be kidding me. Shit. We're not going forward. We're going backwards.
For Abdul Fayez and his wife Shajita, it doesn't matter whether the start of the Myanmar and Bangladeshi government's repatriation plan has been delayed. They say they would not have agreed to return to Myanmar anyway.
If we die here, at least we get a funeral. If we are killed in Myanmar, there is no funeral. The dead are just burnt.
We must be recognised as Rohingya. We want our houses rebuilt and freedom of movement. If they kill us in Myanmar, they just burn the bodies. They even throw children into the fire, some as young as my son.
Bangladesh says the list it has compiled of the names of more than 1 million refugees has not yet been submitted to the Myanmar government. The agreed plan would then involve Myanmar verifying the names
1 million refugees
on that list.
Talk about
before giving it back
repopulation
to
and
who will then ask
pushing them all over the world
to return
for economic gain in countries like France, Germany, Australia, US, Canada.
Years ago, the Myanmar government considers them illegal immigrants.
They're illegal immigrants.
Aid agencies say Myanmar soldiers and armed gangs killed thousands of men, women and children in recent months. A situation described by the UN as ethnic cleansing.
That's exactly what it is.
The Myanmar government has denied the claim, banned any independent investigation, and says temporary
and we back these guys, right?
For the refugees it allows to return. The idea of asking Rohingya refugees, many of whom have seen their family members killed and their homes destroyed, if they want to voluntarily return to Myanmar now, has been described by aid agencies and rights groups as a farce. The United Nations says the basic conditions which made the Rohingya so vulnerable to decades of persecution and violence inside Myanmar remain the same. The United Nations Refugee Agency says 3 things are vital in any future repatriation process.
And the first thing is they need to see the citizenship issue, legal status, resolved in Myanmar, a critical issue. The second thing is they need to be able to go back in conditions that are safe and secure. And number three, they need to be able to go back to a home, to a village that's been reconstructed, a place to live.
The Bangladesh government says it's vital any repatriation process is voluntary and safe. But Western governments say the Rohingyas' security cannot be guaranteed. And the UN's Special Rapporteur on Human Rights, banned from entering Myanmar, says those responsible for the killing and destruction must be called to account. Abdul Fayed says his father was hacked to death by a gang of men as he tried to flee their village. He doubts anyone will ever be punished for that. Charles Stratford, Al Jazeera, Kutupalong refugee camp, Bangladesh.
2-year-old Kabongo Tumba, his mother Mubaka, and 3 siblings spent 2 months
400,000 children are malnourished.
Kasai Central's capital, Kananga.
It's all part of the New World Order. This is a nightmare.
Fled the fighting between government forces and the Kamoin and Sapa rebels, which was adding to communal conflict that already existed. It's been a month since they arrived, and both mother and son still have symptoms of malnutrition.
It was very hard walking so long with my children. At some point, I couldn't walk at all. If it wasn't for the help of the people we were with in the forest, I would have died.
At another nutrition center, mothers bring their children to get weighed and for food and medicine. Chidibi Mutombo's distended belly, discolored hair, and lethargic state are obvious signs that he needs assistance. Humanitarian agencies say about 400,000 children in this region are malnourished, and more than 3 million people are facing starvation because they've been unable to plant crops for 3 seasons.
It's quite difficult.
They can't plant even food.
Of the crisis in Kasai because
they can't even plant food.
Are in far villages that are.
And this is only one country, Yemen. I mean, we're going through countries at a time here.
But are now coming back home, and those who are still displaced, aid workers say they need much help.
Let's not forget this has been a protection crisis, and right now when the conflict has been dispersed in certain areas, we start seeing very difficult cases of children that had seen a lot of atrocities committed on their parents. We've seen children that have had to witness how their parents were killed in front of them.
People here are now receiving some aid, but in this area last year, dozens of people were killed. The Catholic Church put in the figure for the entire Kasai region since the conflict began at around 3,000, both rebels and government forces accused of the killings.
I do not want to go back to my home village. My house is destroyed. My children were killed there. How can I return?
At the center in Kananga, we are told Chidibi is going to be all right. He'll get all the medical and nutritional help he needs. The big concern is that many other children won't be so fortunate because aid agencies don't have enough resources to go around. Catherine Soy, Al Jazeera, Kasai Central, in the Democratic Republic of Congo.
3 people have died and a further 22 are injured following an explosion in southern Thailand. The motorcycle bomb was placed in a market in the Yala province. It ripped off the market's corrugated roof and destroyed nearby stalls. No group has come forward to claim responsibility for the attack.
At least 16 people have been killed in rocket fire and airstrikes across Yemen. Here in Sadr, in the northwest of the country, at least 7 reportedly died as a house was bombarded by the Saudi-led coalition. In the southwestern city of Taiz, Houthi rebel rocket fire killed at least 9, including a journalist, according to a government official. The fresh violence came as Russia called for a diplomatic solution to the conflict. Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov warned political dialogue needed to replace military intervention in the nearly 3-year civil war. The United Nations has labelled the situation in Yemen the worst man-made humanitarian crisis of current times.
Agreed.
On Sunday, it launched the 2018 Yemen Humanitarian Response Plan, offering what it says is the only lifeline for millions of the population. The worst affected, the UN reports, are the children. Nearly 2 million are out of school, and 1.8 million under the age of 5 are acutely malnourished.
Horrible. Pay attention. We warned and said that this was going to happen. This is a total false flag here. We knew about it, didn't stop it.
ما دویدم طرف دهلیز خود از یک مسیر بکشم. اما کارمند هتل دیدم و کارمند هتل گفتن که انتحاری داخل هتل شده، شما باید در اتاقایتان باشین. پس من رفتم مستقیما داخل اتاق، وسایل برقی بودن، تلویزیون بودن، بخاری بودن، کلشان خاموش کردم. داخل تشناب رفتم. بعد از حدود 10 دقیقه کمتری بیشتری انتحاری به دروازه ما رسیدن، چند فایر هم کردن. خوشبختانه داخل تشناب نشد. چون از وقت اینا تلفن دیدن که متوجه شدیم. بعد وقتی که ساختمان کاملا تاریک شد، بعد از تاریک شدن ساختمان ما یک دوست ما رفتیم به یک ساختمان از منزل تا پایین انداختیم. شهادت بسیار افرادی داریم در که از من تا پایین انداختن طبقه 4 و 5 پایین انداختن شهید.
Look at these guys. Right down the bed sheets. Foop. I want to read a comment from one of our members, Terry. She's always very well-spoken. Terry says, as the media censors these stories away, that's correct, and as Americans prefer to turn a blind eye and live in a self-contained fantasy world, we should question ourselves as to why our sense of humanity has disappeared. Bravo, Terry. I'm going to save that question for our new forum as a topic. That is an awesome statement and very well spoken. Bravo. Bravo. We have lost in this world. This has all been ramped up. It's been going on for some time, but just like the earthquakes, the volcanoes, the bad, earth effects going on, so has the wars, the famine, the deaths, starvation, with the famine, biological diseases, you name it. It's all ramped up. Just keeps ramping up and ramping up and ramping up. And you know me, I'm telling you in just plain terms. I'm not going to use any fancy language or anything. This is bullshit. And this is what's happening. The world is in acute turmoil and only getting worse. And the U.S. is behind in funding of a lot of it. A lot of it. Our own preparedness to handle major natural disasters or other is unfunded. FEMA, unfunded. Broke. They're arguing about a border wall when they can't even fund FEMA. The next major natural disaster here in this country, if it pops off a couple of them or it's too large, there's going to be FEMA's not going to be able to react. They're going to have no money. Nada. Zero money. Zero money. And as Sherry said, and I've said for a long time, this is what they want, the madness cycle. You got to go to work to pay your bills, to keep your electric on, your phone, everything, while all this new world order and all this control and all this madness takes place across the planet. And they deal with depopulation and control. Horrible. People must learn what's going on and pay attention and take care of themselves here in this country and organize their lives and their future here, or you're not going to survive. I'm telling you, you won't survive. Or you're going to go get so stressed out, like most people do, that they're going to be like, fuck it. Just fuck it. The only thing I ever agree about Alex Jones on is that this is the prison planet. Bottom line. And we will stay prisoners until people wake up and until people get together and stop it and not be a prisoner. I'm no prisoner. I don't give a shit. I won't be a prisoner. I will not be misled by fake news and the like. They want everybody distracted. No, Red Cross and all these other bullshit organizations. If you donate to these companies, these organizations, you got rocks in your head. That's why I'm telling you. My objective and our objective here at MFA is to get people together in like our survival group, our private networks, things like that, so people can help each other. And we're going to be going on a major branding campaign as soon as the rest of the forum and some other sites are ready to go and done, which should be within 2 weeks. And you're going to watch MFA be everywhere. Commercials, everything, including real TV commercials and the like. It's time to ramp this up and bring people together.
On January 20th, the Turkish Armed Forces officially launched a military operation in the area of Afrin and started conducting massive artillery and airstrikes on positions of Kurdish militias there. Operation Olive Branch has been started on January 20, 2018 at 5 p.m. in Syria's northwestern Afrin region to establish security and stability of our borders and region, to eliminate terrorists of PKK, KCK, PYD, YPG, and Daesh, ISIS, and to save our friends and brothers from their oppression and cruelty, the General Staff said in an official statement. The Russian military relocated its forces deployed in Afrin to ensure the security of Russian servicemen located in the district. The country's defense ministry added in an official statement that uncontrolled deliveries of modern weapons, including reportedly the deliveries of man-portable air defense systems by the Pentagon to the pro-U.S. forces in northern Syria, have contributed to the rapid escalation of tensions in the region and resulted in the launch of a special operation by the Turkish troops. On January 21st at 11:05 a.m., units of the TAF and Turkish-backed groups of the Free Syrian Army FSA started a ground phase of the operation. The operation will have 4 stages. There will be a 30-kilometer buffer zone, Prime Minister Binali Yildirim said on the same day. According to pro-Turkish sources, the TAF and the FSA captured the villages of Adnan Monli, Bulalkuy, and Kurin, as well as captured 4 hills in the district of Sheikh al-Hadid and Rajo. The advance is supported by warplanes, Bayraktar TB2, unmanned combat aerial vehicles, T-122 Sakarya multiple launch rocket systems, various artillery pieces, and armored vehicles, including Leopard 2A4 battle tanks. About 200 positions of YPG-YPJ were destroyed by strikes, according to pro-Turkish sources. In response, the YPG General Command said that no villages were captured by the TAF, and all attacks were repelled. Pro-Kurdish sources also claim that 15 members of pro-Turkish forces were killed, and 3 TAF battle tanks were destroyed with anti-tank guided missiles, ATGM. The YPG released a video of an ATGM strike of a Leopard 2A4 battle tank. However, the photo of the same tank later appeared online, showing that it was only slightly damaged. According to pro-YPG sources, 11 civilians were killed, and 16 others were injured by Turkish strikes. Separately, YPG-led forces shelled Reyhanli district of the Turkish province of Hatay with at least 11 rockets. A civilian was killed and about 50 others were injured. The YPG also accused Russia of allowing Turkey to attack Afrin and said that Moscow will be responsible for all civilian casualties there. It's interesting to note that, according to reports, just before the start of the TAF operation, the YPG and its political branch, PYD, once again rejected a Russian-Syrian suggestion to allow the Damascus government administrative bodies to return back to Afrin. Meanwhile, U.S. Defense Secretary Jim Mattis said Turkey informed the U.S. about the operation ahead of its start and added that Ankara has legitimate security concerns. The TAF operation in Afrin came amid a total collapse of Hayat Tahrir al-Sham's defense in Idlib province. On January 20th, the Syrian Arab Army SAA, the Tiger forces and their allies liberated the Abu al-Duhur airbase and a large number of the nearby villages. In this way, the SAA fully encircled remaining forces of Hayat Tahrir al-Sham HTS and ISIS in eastern Idlib and northwestern Aleppo. HTS launched a series of small-scale counterattacks and targeted an SAA position of Sarouj with a car bomb, but was not able to stop the government advance. On January 21st, government forces advanced north of the airbase and entered the town of Abu al-Duhur. On January 22nd, the SAA liberated this key town and continued the operation to consolidate its recent gains. Meanwhile, fierce fighting continued in Afrin. Kurdish forces in the area faced the same problem from which their Peshmerga counterparts suffered in Kirkuk. They de facto rejected close cooperation with all players except of the US, but Washington is now rushing to help.
Pay attention.
Up to 1,000 more U.S. troops could be headed to Afghanistan this spring.
A month ago.
On January 21st, the Washington Post reported that the Army is preparing a proposal that would send an additional 1,000 U.S. troops to Afghanistan to boost its forces in the region.
Why do we keep shipping more troops to Afghanistan and storing them there? We're storing them there. We don't need all these troops in Afghanistan. We just put up 4,000 more. It's actually more than that. And now they're asking for another 1,000 more? Pay attention. This is not for Afghanistan. It's for a jump off for when we need troops with a war with Iran. I'm telling you, there's no reason for us, as well as if we need them in the Russian theater or not, there's no reason to be putting all these troops in Afghanistan. And Trump was like, we're going to get them out of there before he got elected. No, they keep putting more over there. More. And now they want more. More troops, Afghanistan. For what?
And help in the fight against the Taliban. The new troops would be part of a new combat team called the Security Force Assistance Brigade. Those forces would join the 14,000 U.S. troops already stationed there. The possible move
14,000 troops.
Contrast between the Obama
14,000 troops in Afghanistan. For what? The Taliban. Do you know how many Taliban people, how many Taliban there are? A few hundred, just so you know, collectively. Just so you know that, in Afghanistan. You can fact check. Okay. 14,000 troops, and now we're putting more there. And you guys, if you want to believe that that's for the Taliban, you got something else coming. We're getting ready for major, major war. 14,000 troops, and now we're going to put in another one, another brigade. Sure we are. Unbelievable.
Obama and Trump administration's Afghanistan strategies. While the Obama administration pushed for a drawdown of U.S. troops in Afghanistan, President Trump's plan for the war has already increased the number of troops by 5,500 since he took office, not counting this new proposal. Free United News International.
Why is Trump upping the troops in Afghanistan and Japan and all over the place? Everywhere.
National in Washington, D.C., I'm Caitlin May. The U.S. State Department has cleared the sale of dozens of F-35 Joint Strike Fighters to Belgium in a deal worth $6.53 billion. The State Department announced on January 19th that it had approved the sale of 34 F-35As, along with spare engines, electronic warfare systems, and a full mission trainer to the European nation. According to a statement from the Defense Security Cooperation Agency, the proposed sale will, quote, provide Belgium with a credible defense capability to deter aggression in the region and ensure interoperability with U.S. forces. The F-35, built and designed by Lockheed Martin, is the most expensive weapons program in history. Several U.S. allies have already bought the jet, including Japan, Israel, the United Kingdom, Australia, Norway, Italy, and Turkey.
And they got tons of problems with this plane.
Washington, D.C.
Tons of problems with that.
Once again, stress that the country's missile program is non-negotiable. Iranian Foreign Ministry spokesman Bahram Qasemi.
Here we go, setting the stage for war with Iran.
A red line which no one will be allowed to cross. This came after France said Tehran and Paris had started negotiations on Iran's missile program. The Iranian diplomat dismissed the claim. Meanwhile, France has accused Iran of not respecting part of a UN Security Council resolution that demands it refrain from working on ballistic missiles designed to carry nuclear warheads. The Islamic Republic has repeatedly said its missile program is entirely defensive and poses no threat to anyone.
Britain's army chief has warned that a lack of investment could jeopardize the country's ability to withstand attack from Russia. The intervention by General Sir Nick Carter was unprecedented. Normally, military chiefs keep their heads well below the political parapet.
Russia, I think, could initiate hostilities sooner than we expect, and a
Sure.
lot earlier than we would in similar circumstances. Most likely, they will use nefarious sub-NATO Article 5 treaty actions to erode the capability of NATO and threaten the very structure that provides our own defence and security. This is the divide and rule which the international order is designed to prevent.
He said the Kremlin already boasted an eye-watering quantity of capability, as demonstrated by ostentatious war games held under the international gaze in recent years.
S-400.
By contrast, the British military has increasingly outdated equipment and a black hole in its budget, with further deep cuts planned for the coming years.
Japan is escalating efforts to prepare its citizens for war, with
Pay attention.
hosting its first ballistic missile evacuation drill. It seems Japan is still fearful of North Korea, despite tensions easing on the peninsula over the Winter
No, because
Olympics.
Japan knows we're going to war.
Tokyo residents wore grey bibs and prepared to seek underground shelter as about 200 employees blared an ominous warning that a missile had been launched. Several other Japanese cities have already undergone similar drills in recent weeks, but it was a first for the capital. However, some seem sceptical that such a drill could go very far in preparing for the worst. There were also a few protests outside places where Monday's drill was conducted, with demonstrators saying the drills were only fanning missile fears.
Now, while friendly talks are taking place between the two Koreas, international pressure continues to build on the North. The European Union has put an additional 17 North Koreans on its blacklist, hitting them with travel bans and asset freezes for illegal trading activities and sidestepping sanctions imposed on Pyongyang over its nuclear program. The EU says the 17 were identified due to their involvement in illegal trade activities and activities aimed at facilitating the evasion of UN sanctions. The new additions are mostly senior company representatives, not high-ranking government officials. There are now 58 North Koreans and 10 entities, such as companies and organisations under EU sanctions, and a further 79 people and 54 entities on the UN list. North Korea is only a handful of months away from being capable of striking the mainland United States with a nuclear weapon.
Pay attention.
This, according to the head of the Central Intelligence...
This coming from the head of the CIA. Okay? Pompeo. I don't care who, whatever president there is in power, CIA. Corruption. Bullshit. Handful of months, North Korea is going to have the capability to hit the United States. Here we go. Ding, 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 ding. Fear factor. Everybody. North Korea in a few months is going to be able to hit the United States with a missile. This is fault. This is bullshit. Bullshit. Straight bullshit. Yeah, very good point, Debbie. And what does our leaders tell us if something happens? Nothing. You're on your own. Good luck surviving. Exactly. Handful of months, North Korea. Pompeo, sit down. You're full of shit. You couldn't even listen to this guy. He's like...
Agency. The latest assessment by Mike Pompeo comes after the North tested 3 intercontinental ballistic missiles and conducted its 6th nuclear weapon test last year. In an interview with CBS aired on Monday, Pompeo said North Korea's nuclear weapons program is continuing to expand, advance, become more powerful, more capable and more reliable. He added that Washington is working diligently to extend that timeline.
Watch this doctor turn a baby that's still in his mother's belly.
I was like, well, let me get this just for us and we can document it.
Nick and Vanessa Fisher were told their baby was breech, meaning his head had to turn downward toward the birth canal and he risked being born feet first. They did try some home remedies to coax him into position.
This is a good story.
In my pockets and try to get the baby to get curious and try to listen down at the bottom. We got out the ironing board and I would lay on the ironing board upside down. But none of those things worked. He stayed put.
Their midwife recommended they visit Dr. Frederick Cumming, an OBGYN, to try to get their little guy ready for his big debut. Nick Fisher decided to record the procedure.
I felt a little pain, but it happened very quickly. I was really surprised at how easily it happened. And when he was finished, and I was so relieved because as soon as he was finished, he checked the baby's heart rate and everything was fine and all was well. So I was really happy.
She's got some scar. Holy cow.
Video on Facebook so others who might be in their position could see what the procedure is all about. And it seemed lots of people were interested to see it.
And I didn't ever imagine 3 million people would watch it, but it's great that we did because it served its purpose, and happy to help.
And the Fishers report their baby, Ashton Nathaniel, was born naturally at home on January 16.
For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. Now, I want to go into some drastic earth changes that are happening that Skywatch has put up because it's, and as I showed in the news, there's some serious stuff happening as far as volcanoes. Earthquakes are ramping up higher, as I expected, and we have said this is going to continue. Wait till the 9s start. When the 9.0s start, or up in the high 8s and the 9s, and you're going to watch the USGS and other reporting drop them as fast as they can and downgrade them.
Welcome to Skywatch Media News. Hello, everyone. In the year 1704, Sir Isaac Newton, who was known as the godfather of physics, wrote that the Earth, as we know it, will be ending in the year 2060, or 1260 years after the beginning of the Holy Roman Empire. Coincidentally, there are quite a few theorists who claim that the planetary system will come close to the Earth during this same time frame, causing many earthquakes and volcanic eruptions. According to Newton's notes, he reached his apocalyptic conclusions by analyzing the Bible's book of Daniel. His predicatory work was kept in the home of the Earl of Portsmouth, and it was kept there for 250 years. Speculation persists that Newton may be referring to Nibiru in his work. Here's what he said. Now, it has been said that Isaac Newton was one of the most prolific apocalyptic thinkers of our time, a famous physicist who was guided more by religion than by science. He devoted 50 years and some 4,500 pages of work predicting when the end of the world would arrive. But he was very reluctant to set a specific date
for this event to happen. The Nibiru theory was linked to the end times by Christian fundamentalists who believed that the rapture would begin on September 23rd, connected by celestial activity as interpreted in the spoken word. There are many theorists who believe that the erratic weather and environmental changes on Earth are directly related to its passage. Strangely enough, the government is acting as if nothing is happening. Therefore, if you really want to know about the Earth changes, then you must venture outside the box. NASA scientist David Morrison was compelled to do a YouTube video to specifically debunk the existence of Planet X in an effort to quell public concerns. He wants you to know that there is no images, no tracking, and no observations of an incoming Planet X. When NASA puts out a press release or conducts a news conference to debunk a specific issue of great interest, then it is up to each of us to do our own investigation to see if their findings hold any merit. There are some odd things happening in our solar system that contradict what we are being told by scientists.
You think?
Our settled and calm planet is looking increasingly disturbed and agitated.
You got that right.
The sun is rotating on a tilted angle that the most astute observer is hard-pressed to explain. There is an unsettling perturbance, a planetary presence that is both large and mobile, which, if true, will change our preconceived view of the solar system. Are you an observant skywatcher? If so, then you realize that weather anomalies are spreading across the world as our atmosphere becomes more volatile. Every week there is a new extreme event happening somewhere on Earth. When you first glance at this image, if not for the building in the foreground, it would be strikingly reminiscent of a photo taken from the Martian surface by one of the exploration rovers that are located on the red planet. But the following images are not from Mars. They were taken right here on Earth.
Turkey.
As an extreme sandstorm engulfed southeastern Turkey on January 19th. The strong winds and heavy dust reduced visibility in many provinces of the country. Near the Syrian border with Turkey, the sky turned an eerie red that had many residents running for cover as the sky turned dark. A powerful windstorm swept over northern Europe on January 18th. Officials in the Netherlands reported winds of 87 miles per hour at the height of the storm, while Germany saw winds up to 126 miles per hour. According to the German Weather Service, this was the worst storm to strike Germany in more than 10 years. Here is a taste of what took place during devastating storm Friederike across Europe.
Friederike. Oh, yeah. Yikes. planet is changing fast. And I think we're trying to stop it with several other countries. That's what all these rocket launches are about, the satellites.
A furious storm of spectacular proportions engulfed Mar del Plata, Argentina.
Look at this.
On January the 11th, catching many beachgoers off guard, as seen in these
Look at this.
captured images.
Incredible.
An offshore storm along the shores of Washington and Oregon created massive waves and flooding on January 18th. According to the National Weather Service, waves more than 30 feet in height were visible near the mouth of the Columbia River. A high surge advisory was in effect along the entire Washington state coast. Surging waves were flooding roads, rolling over seawalls, and pouring over jetties all along the coastline. In ocean shores, a rogue wave knocked onlookers off of their feet. This diagram shows the approximate wave heights that were registered by the Data Buoy Center along the Oregon and Washington coast.
This is off our coast.
A rogue wave of 60 feet was recorded by one of the buoy markers on this date. Drone photographer Joshua Wilkins caught the tidal surge on a dramatic video that was published on January 18th from Ocean Park, Washington. In an article published by the San Francisco Gate on January 19th, Mr. Wilkins, who is an Ocean Park native, stated that he had never experienced the tide coming this far inland before.
Yikes. Look at these people standing there. These people, the next wave that's going to come in, you know, could just like wipe them out. And they just stand there with their cameras like, hey, this is cool, you know? Dumb fucks. Amazing. Amazing. Look at these people. They're out here standing right here. Out here and out here. You see this massive freaking wave come in, right? And you're out here. Look at my mouse. Oop. Watch my mouse. Right here. These people are standing here and here. Yeah, that's like real smart. And then something will happen to them and they'll go, people around go, oh my God, why did that happen? Because you're an idiot. Look where you're standing. Like retarded. Yeah, let me just hang out right here. We'll just hang out right over here and out here and just wait for the next big wave that just came in like this one and, we'll be okay. Amazing. Just like... And one thing I know is the ocean. I grew up on the ocean, specialized in building homes on the ocean. Like, for real? The ocean's no joke. Look at him. Yes, Michael. Oh, I got my camera. We're all good. Look at these over here. For real?
"2017 was an explosive year for volcanic eruptions worldwide. For every given week of the year, there were between 14 and 27 volcanoes that were erupting."
14 to 27 eruptions per week. Now let's explain something here. Do we all know what volcanoes put into the atmosphere? One volcano alone erupting, right? And people are worried about like LA and smog and us with automobiles in this country and around the world, and that man is causing the global warming and all this crap. Okay? Bullshit. This planet does it on its own. I don't believe in polluting the planet, but don't get me wrong. There's more shit put up by volcanoes into the atmosphere than mankind could ever put up. Okay? Now watch. I will guarantee you that this number right here, we're already into 2018, right? Just not even 1 month. I will bet you that this 14 to 27 is double this year. That there's about 40 some odd eruptions overall. And we'll see. Sulfur dioxide, as Steven said. Yeah. Tons of sulfur dioxide in the atmosphere.
Of the 139 active volcanoes that are located in Indonesia along the Ring of Fire, 18 have had their alert level raised.
Look at this.
Signifying higher than normal seismic activity, ground deformation, or gas emissions. According to Volcano Discovery, there are more than 30 eruptions currently happening across the planet. Of these, the more dramatic eruptions are happening in Southeast Asia. On January 12th, a major eruption and a sensational pyroclastic flow was photographed at the Sinabung volcano located in Indonesia.
Wake up to that in your backyard.
On the 15th of January, an eruption of the Agung volcano on Bali Island, Indonesia, was observed. A powerful eruption took place at the Mayan volcano, Philippines, on January 22nd, producing a column of ash that rose some 25,000 feet above sea level.
Pay attention.
Increased activity at the volcano forced authorities to raise the alert level from 3 to 4. Heavy ashfall was reported in communities around the volcano and as far as 22 miles from the volcanic base. Zero visibility has been reported after the major ash eruption, advising everyone to wear their face masks and to stay indoors. The eruption lasted for some 8 minutes and generated pyroclastic flows to the southwest of the volcano. On Sunday, January 21st, lava fountaining reached a height of about 1,000.
Get strapped in, because 2018 is going to be the year of just earth turmoil. This just happened. It's happening now, Ed. Here we
Just
go.
days before the 7.6 magnitude earthquake off the northern coast of Honduras in the Western Caribbean, one of the most powerful to hit this region in modern history, an eruption of the Popocatépetl volcano was seen in Mexico. In the first 3 weeks of 2018, there has been a series of earthquakes of magnitude 6.0 or larger, accompanied by a series of very strong volcanic eruptions. On January 21st, a massive magnitude 6.3 earthquake rocked northern Chile. The earthquake was felt as far away as neighboring Peru and Bolivia, according to the USGS. The earthquake was relatively deep, striking at 110 kilometers. The massive quake comes just days after Peru was hit with an even more devastating 7.3 magnitude earthquake. It will become imperative to closely monitor the changes as activity continues to increase across the world.
Pay attention. The wisdom to
Many
survive.
of these events, whether induced by nature or manipulated through the hand of humanity, are indicators of a malefic force that is being thrust upon the earth. And thus they are warning signs that the world and its inhabitants will enter into a time of great turmoil and trouble. So as we begin our journey through a time and a place of uncertainty, let's remember who we are and why we are here, what we can do to help one another, and what we can do to prepare ourselves and our associates for the bumpy road ahead.
Amen.
In so doing, you will be more at ease and more self-assured in the journey that we must all take. Foot flow.
It's 12:17. I wanted to show this other video about SpaceX launch, possible Nibiru probe, and some other anomalies having to do with fireballs. So we'll see. I mean, you can catch this in the morning, but I'm going to play it because I would like to. It's very informative.
Were shocked by a sudden and eerie sight in the early evening sky that many mistook for a UFO or an asteroid flyby.
Just follow along with this. It starts out
Motorists
about
were
with
so
this
distracted
launch.
by the spectacle that it created a bit of chaos on the busy LA freeways. What so many Californians witnessed was the launch of a rocket called SpaceX Falcon 9, which is the brainchild of South African billionaire Elon Musk. The launch from SpaceX headquarters in Hawthorne contained a secret payload, which is codenamed Zuma, the details of which have been kept under wraps, thus fueling a certain amount of speculation about the actual purpose of the rocket.
And this is the one they claim got lost, okay? This is the one that they claim got lost after launch. So just pay attention to this feed because it's important, because I came across, and tomorrow I'm going to be talking about all these rocket launches with all these satellites from all these different countries. I think I figured out what's going on there, and why we are doing this and what it's for.
Launch. According to a series of tabloid magazines and websites, Elon Musk, a global elitist, has met several times with high-ranking U.S. politicians and military officials in late 2017.
Pay attention.
These meetings were intended to enlist private monetary contributions from wealthy donors so that the space project could go forward in secret, and thus the government would dissolve itself of culpability in the event that the project failed. The contractor, Northrop Grumman, which is the maker of the payload and are involved in the launch of the restricted cargo, has indicated that the project is being conducted on behalf of the U.S. government as a cost-effective approach to the access of space for government missions. Shortly after the launch of the SpaceX rocket, as was seen from Hawthorne, California, another launch took place, this time from Cape Canaveral, Florida, on the first week of January 2018, as shown here. Now, there is considerable mystery surrounding these rocket launches, since it is unknown why the government has deemed this so important as to carry with this project special protection and secrecy. The payload blasted into space under the cover of darkness while millions were viewing the initial launch via a live video feed. Almost immediately after the payload separated from the booster, the feed was permanently cut off, as was witnessed, so that whatever payload the rocket was carrying would not be seen by the general public. When contacted about the live feed blackout, both SpaceX and the Pentagon refused to comment and remained tight-lipped. What Northrop Grumman indicated was that the cargo would be placed into low Earth orbit, providing no further details regarding its purpose.
At the point of maximum stress on the vehicle, from that point on, we're going through thinner and thinner atmosphere, so stress will continually decrease. And we've just passed max Q, so again, that means that as we ascend higher and higher, the atmosphere is thinner, and we do not need to have as much stress on the vehicle. Now, we're going to go through 4 events here in rapid succession, and those are in order: MECO, stage separation, SES-1, and the boost backburn. Now, MECO stands for main.
The U.S. wanted our enemies and others around the world to believe that this payload was lost. Okay. But it was not lost. And several countries sent up satellites into low Earth orbit as well. I believe this is the command center for what they all, Russia, China, India, are all participating in to create a Earth net, so to speak, to control pretty much the weather. So as they were saying earlier in the news, as I was showing you, that they want to start to control the melting of the ice, polar ice caps. They want to slow it down. They want to control the weather and the warming of planet Earth.
Main engine cutoff. That's when the first stage stops firing. There follows stage separation when first and second stage depart from each other. SES-1 is the third event. That stands for second engine start. That's when second stage begins firing. And then the fourth event in that sequence is the boost backburn. That's when first stage begins firing again to start its trajectory back to landing zone 1. Now that sequence will occur at about 15 seconds in duration, starting about 15 seconds from now.
Tower 7, this is RC on countdown. Please relinquish control of the camera, please.
Roger. Here it goes.
For its part, SpaceX has launched prior national security payloads, including a spy satellite for the National Reconnaissance Office, as well as a space plane called X-37B for the United States Air Force. But the mystery deepens regarding these space launches. Some are speculating that the rocket is actually destined to probe the depths of space for a brown dwarf planet that is hidden in our solar system, which then explains why these payloads have been classified. The cargo contains specific instruments created to accomplish two important missions: to gauge Nibiru's timeline, which has been almost impossible to estimate, and the other being to determine the effects wrought on our planet once it crosses our path. What is most interesting in all of the speculation surrounding this space mission is its possible connection to the legendary planet Nibiru, which is neither being confirmed or denied by the SpaceX pioneer or any officials at its headquarters. It has never been spoken of publicly. If you visit the SpaceX website, you will notice that the company's ambition is to revolutionize space technology, the ultimate goal being to enable Earth's inhabitants the opportunity to live on other planets. But why? Is there a reason that humanity is suddenly preparing the technology that would make it possible to inhabit other worlds?
Yes.
What is their motive, and why is it all a secret? We must ask ourselves these questions. You see, not all speculation is conjecture. Sometimes the truth is hidden in the midst of the secrecy.
Amen.
We may never know the real truth here, and yet it becomes our responsibility to seek absolute answers rather than accepting half-truths and smokescreens about the purpose of the rocket launches from both California and Florida. Our mission at Skywatch Media is to keep you informed as much as possible on events that are changing our planet, some of which warrant our undivided attention. If our planet is reeling from atmospheric and geological instability of an anomalous nature, then our aim is to pronounce the whys and the wherefores that define these changes and what may be causing them. We are presently witnessing an unbelievable, if not unprecedented, decline in the energy output of the sun, which is said to be the most rapid decline in nearly 10,000 years.
Pay attention.
Granted, the sun produces energy cycles every 11 years.
The most rapid decline in 10,000 years.
Something is much different about the present cycle. It seems extremely abnormal, which may bring very bad consequences. Scientists will tell you that disasters are the most consequential when the energy output of the sun declines, since it becomes easier for cosmic energy particles to penetrate the Earth's surface as the planet's natural shielding is weakened.
Yep.
But it looks like this time around, the consequences of a dormant sun are much more severe. The last event to have such dire consequences for the world was during the Great Famine of the 14th century. It started with bad weather in the spring of the year 1315, in which there was a significant crop failure that lasted until the summer harvest of 1317. Europe did not fully recover from this event until the year 1322. The crisis set in motion the great economic collapse that began during the 14th century. There are similar comparisons to what happened then compared to what is happening now. Today's society mistakenly believes that they have conquered every worldly aspect, that humanity can even control the climate. Many of you may have forgotten the history of what took place in the 14th century. The collapse of the weather during the medieval period was quick and deadly. What followed was bitter cold winters and perpetual frozen rains. Plagues and various types of disease then correlate to the decline in temperatures. As the weather worsened, the first disease began to appear in the livestock, followed by consecutive years of crop failure, which then launched the years of famine, leading to the deaths of as much as 15% of Northern Europe's population. The concern we have today, regardless of what may actually be causing this, is the similarities we are seeing develop around the world with regard to the steady output of extreme weather on the planet and the decline in the energy output of the sun, which could set in motion the beginning of another mini ice age on Earth within the next decade, one that resembles the deep freeze of Europe in the first few months of 1709. In that year, the food supply was wiped out by a retest of the lows that were experienced in the 14th century. People were actually ice skating on the canals of Venice, which was completely unusual to witness such cold that far south on the water. People were also able to cross the Baltic Sea by horseback at this time because it was completely frozen. The years between now and 2024 will be a time of great change, filled with consequential events for the generation and for the generations to come. It seems that we have reached the point of no return and must therefore ride out the storm that approaches, and we must do so with strength and fortitude if we are to survive what comes. The surge of extreme weather today has no boundaries. It affects all people and all nations, and it is merciless in its ramifications across the planet. What we see developing over many years is very perplexing. In Augusta, Maine, the Kennebec River unexpectedly flooded on January 13th, after large amounts of rain and snowmelt caused chunks of ice to break free, creating a dam that blocked the flow of the river. The water surged well above the 12-foot flood stage, reaching close to 20 feet before receding. As the river flowed its banks, cars became encased in ice and rising waters. This is just another in a series of bizarre weather events for the year. In Michigan, a blast of winds from the north produced high waves along the lakefront of Whiting. Everything near the shoreline was completely frozen, turning them into ice sculptures. Ice spheres also formed on January 13th at the Little Sable Point Lighthouse on Lake Michigan. Some of the spheres were 3 feet in circumference. In Croatia, freezing fog was responsible for these impressive images.
Freezing fog. Wow. Check that out. Beautiful, but wow.
Ice jam issues are rearing their ugly head on waterways this winter. Sub-zero temperatures quickly froze lakes and rivers across the Northeast and Midwest, but that was followed by a brief and mild warm-up, with temperatures surging 10 to 20 degrees above normal, which were mixed with rain, creating the melt that broke up the ice and created the jams. The ice flow is knocking trailers off of their foundations, and it is surrounding houses in huge chunks of ice. There has been some exceptional anomalies this winter, from bomb storm Grayson to snow in the Sahara to ice spheres on Lake Michigan to snow in the Gulf of Mexico. Our world is changing. On the morning of January 16th, a rare and phenomenal sight was photographed over New Orleans, Louisiana.
Check this out.
A tube-shaped roll cloud was captured in dramatic images and video as it rolled across the sky. The roll cloud appeared just prior to an Arctic air mass moving into southern Louisiana, where snow accumulation is presently falling over much of the Baton Rouge area.
Check this out. New Orleans, no less.
More than 71 million people are now under a severe winter weather alert across much of the United States, while states of emergency have been declared in multiple states, including Alabama and North Carolina, due to the inclement cold and treacherous ice that has imperiled these regions. In Michigan, a cosmic event of enormous intensity was seen and felt north of Detroit in the evening hours of January 16th. A bright fireball illuminated the sky over Michigan, followed by a sonic boom that reverberated over a wide area.
I told everyone fireballs
the blast was so
would be
intense
going up.
That the USGS registered it as a 2.0 earthquake. The American Meteor Society received so many calls from startled residents that the website of the AMS crashed. NASA's Meteor Environment Office has calculated the event as being a slow-moving meteor at a speed of 28,000 miles per hour. The space rock is estimated to be at least 3 feet in length, which penetrated deep into the atmosphere before exploding. It is expected that meteorites hit the ground in the vicinity of the explosion. Here is the live report from the local news affiliate.
Breaking news.
I heard a very loud bang,
lighting up the sky.
A meteor fireball explodes over Michigan.
The impact spreading hundreds of miles and causing a social media frenzy.
I'll break down the meteor fireball and explain what exactly you saw tonight.
Plus, we're hearing from people who saw it firsthand and captured the moment on video.
Breaking news right now. Thousands saw it, heard it, and even felt it. This map shows the impact reaching well beyond Michigan.
Many captured it on video. You can see all of the images of what's believed to be a meteor fireball over southeast Michigan.
The flash of light and the big boom rattled homes and nerves all over tonight. 7 Action News reporter Andrea Isom begins our Team 7 coverage.
Quite a show out there, Andrea.
Oh, what a night it has been. Our newsroom has been extra busy. We received hundreds of phone calls, hundreds of emails, social media going wild because people want to know what the heck they heard, what the heck they saw tonight. We had a young man come up to us from Dearborn, and he goes, I witnessed something I've never ever seen before. And
Well, get ready. You're going to start witnessing more of them all around the globe. Fireballs, meteors, close encounters with asteroids in this planet going to keep going up.
Tell you what, he was not the only one.
I was a little spooked.
Surveillance and dash cams are going crazy all across southeast Michigan. If you did not see it,
Just a flash of light. It lasted maybe half a millisecond.
And if you did not hear it,
A very loud bang.
then you missed a major event in Michigan.
I was shocked for a second. I said, what could that be?
And you better believe Joseph Gwynn was not the only one bewildered.
I posted on Facebook. People are saying, yeah, I heard it in Allen Park. Another guy said that he heard it on Wyoming and Ford Road. My friend in Lincoln Park said that he thought someone was breaking into his house. My sister said that it shook her house. And someone also told me...
Vicky, the survival store, 2 weeks is up. It has freeze-dried foods, everything. One of our members is asking about when we're getting freeze-dried food. Our survival store is hot. A lot of great products, a lot of great stuff. Survival Group is awesome. You get Survival Group radios, bug-out bag, all kinds of goodies. And one hell of a survival network that we're putting together, and reporting team to bring survival news and writers and things of that nature. Sorry about me again, I had bone surgery, so I apologize to everybody about my speaking and my lisp. I can't wait. I just need this bone to heal. It's over here. And then they can put this thing in, and then you'll see. But nightmare. My surgery went well, but this has been painful, and it looks like, whew, it's like smashing your head with a sledgehammer.
that a meteor hit.
Bingo! According to the National Weather Service, that is precisely what it was. A meteor in Michigan.
Ding, 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 ding. Bingo.
It lit up the sky like the 4th of July. Michael Mastretta called Action News because he was flabbergasted. I mean, completely blown away.
It scared the heck out of me. We actually had a meteor land in Michigan tonight. It's crazy to even think about it.
It's crazy.
Crazy, crazy, crazy indeed. Now we know what it was, right? Now we all want to know why. So I'll send it back to you guys in the studio for that answer.
All right, Andre, we've been working on that, and the one thing we're pretty sure is that we don't know of anything that hit the ground, yet at least, but we're working on that.
You know, I was out at dinner, and we thought we saw a lightning strike in the sky, so we kind of saw it out there, right?
All right, let's get right now to 7 First Alert meteorologist Kevin Jeans in the Weather Center to explain what it was that we saw up there.
Well, a lot of people thought that must have been lightning, that must have been thunder. That's kind of your first initial reaction. Was that thunder snow? Well, no, it wasn't thunder, and it was the bright light you saw. Essentially, it was this meteoroid kind of burning up in the Earth's atmosphere. Basically, it's at a high rate of speed, and as it goes through the Earth's atmosphere, there's friction. It creates heat, and that's why it starts to kind of glow. You see the bright light, and it kind of flickers, too. It doesn't just get bright and then go down completely. It kind of flickers a little bit. So, of course, this is not to scale, but this is roughly what we're looking at. The sound waves, now, this is the sound you hear. Basically, you have sound waves out ahead of this, and as it's moving faster than the speed of sound, the compression of sound waves is what creates a sonic boom. So that's what you heard. It's traveling at a faster rate than the speed of sound. That's why we heard the sonic boom. But you saw several reports from multiple states. Basically, it's a bright flash. You hear the sonic boom. And odds are it could have just broken up completely. But one thing for sure, you heard the sonic boom, and that's what we saw tonight. Back.
If you have been paying close attention to the news in the past few weeks, there have been a number of articles from mainstream sources, such as The Guardian magazine and Forbes, that are suggesting that the slowing down of the Earth's rotation is going to lead to an escalation of earthquakes this year, 2018.
The slowing down of Earth's rotation.
There may be some truth in their predictions. In the first 2 weeks of the new year, there have been several major earthquakes of greater than 7.
Right on schedule, like we said.
That have occurred in both the northern and the southern hemispheres, with the strongest being the Caribbean quake of magnitude 7.6.
Well, now it's the Alaska quake.
The dramatic fluctuation of the temperatures that are now occurring is something that is quite alarming, because it suggests that the dynamics that comprise the Earth's crust are shifting, while at the same time the Earth's rotation is slowing down. Some of you may be convinced that man-made global warming is responsible for the bizarre temperature inversions that we are now feeling. But it is more of a far-fetched notion to believe that global warming, if caused by humans, can slow the Earth's rotation and cause major earthquakes across the globe.
No!
Some have even suggested that the tectonic realignment of coastal plates that are most likely responsible for receding oceans and shifting tides on continents such as South America is caused by an overabundance of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere as a result of global warming. This to me, and probably to many of you, sounds like a talking point of the scientists, who are, for the most part, manipulated and controlled by the elite, who call all of the shots. It doesn't take someone with a college education to understand that the Earth is being affected by something very powerful. As these anomalous events continue to escalate,
yeah, time is running out.
At some point, people begin to ask questions, wanting to know what is happening. Truth can only be suppressed for a moment in time, and then it becomes necessary to leak information in bits and pieces in order to avoid the ripple effect of chaos and pandemonium. Something as important as the welfare of this planet and the survival of humanity cannot be kept a secret indefinitely. If not for the many brave individuals who devote much of their time and efforts to better inform the public,
Amen,
we would all be lost in the dark and unaware of the obstacles that lie in wait. I cannot say this enough. We must continue to look to the sky for answers. The signs are being manifest before our eyes. And yes, this is our moment to shine, to stand up and seek guidance and understanding.
Amen.
It is important at this critical moment in our lives to educate ourselves regarding the earth changes which are unfolding, and to be fully engaged in helping others who may be affected by these changes. Above all, it is our responsibility to keep looking to the sky, for which the truth of all things shall come to pass.
Amen. Have the patience to look deep for answers. It amazes me how many people are not prepared, are not psychologically prepared, are not financially prepared, are not physically prepared, and continue to chase that madness we call mainstream media and propaganda that's put out there. They're not going to tell anyone on this planet until it's too late or right up our ass. And all you have to do, and people can't say this is not true, because all you have to do is look at the facts, i.e. the data of the earthquakes, the volcanoes, the storms, the acute weather, snow, ice, temperatures, everything. All you have to do is look at the data. It's there. And we've been showing it for close to a year. All you have to do is look at the data. And then use common sense, and you can also see that our sun is, an epic fail, and we're using sun simulators, which that in itself is huge. That in itself is huge. I wanted to show everybody, tomorrow night I'll go into the forum and things like that because it's late, it's already 12:47. I wanted to show everybody, we're getting ready to launch our new clothing line, stores, jackets, all kinds of stuff on our new websites and our new store. These are our new patches. They're not even showing up on the green screen that well because this is real gold thread. You see it, how it's fluctuating on the screen? Because this is real gold thread on there. Wow, that's amazing. Whoops. This way. These are our new. We have them for every one of our organizations. They're all going to be, there's bigger ones, smaller ones. Atlas. Larger ones. MFA News Network. Survival Group. MFA Social. MFA Development Group. MFA TV. They all come in, they're all using they're called real gold fiber thread, excuse me. So you'll be seeing large ones of these, back jackets, nice jackets, different than we had before. We're teaming up with LL Bean, we're looking at, and some other companies as well. So they all came in today. But you see how they're reflecting because it's real gold. It's actually real gold thread. I mean, it's cool stuff. And I want to thank the company that did it. They'll be doing all of our patches from now on and our new stickers and things like that. So it's going to be an interesting, very serious next 7 days. 7 to 10 days. Very serious. A lot of crazy stuff going to go on. Politically, you're going to see lots of moves by both sides to cover up what's going on with Mueller, as well as what's going on with the Clintons and the like. But you're going to see this constant far-right, deep state, exaggerated news about memos and things of that. And as I started this show, pay attention. I'm telling you, the shit is going to get very, very bad. Constitutional crisis. Constitutional crisis. I will quickly show you something else. I've shown you the members forum before, but I have not shown you some, just running through some other things. This is not an easy site to build. It is phenomenal, though. Beautiful job. So if you go up to the top now, when you go to the home page, you'll go to the About, Frequently Asked Questions, Memberships, Contact. This shop's tied to our old one. Members you'll only see when you're put in there. But when you go to Memberships, and this is where all sites will be redirected. Yes, John, we get 3X and 4X jackets, no problem. When you go to the membership page, this is what you're going to see. Silver, gold, sapphire, what's included. Those are the new cards. If you're an underground member, you are already a gold member. You'll be getting new cards with numbers. It'll also then bring you down to survival group right here. The back of this card has to be changed yet. This is all tied. Survival group is tied then to the application for survival group. This is the bug out bag you get. You get it in camo or the red and the gray, all with our patches and embroidery. This is the radio network for survival track. This is the survival track radio. You get 2 of those. You can buy more from our store as well. We're exclusive seller with this company. This is a survival track satellite phone that's coming in March that we're dealing with the company with now. No matter what, it has its built-in SOS. You will always be able to to reach anyone. There is an initial enrollment. There's $200 off. If you upgrade to a Sapphire, you'll get 25% off joining Survival Group. There's a one-time enrollment fee, and then it's annually $99. And this comes with it all, the one-time fee. There is no monthly fee for the radios and to be tracked. The satellite phone and tracking is different. So when you join, you get a bug out bag. You can pick that, your radios, you get the patches, you get stickers, you get the 2 devices. You actually get 2 devices. You get part of the survival group platform, the survival group shows, and everything that we're doing with that whole alliance with that we're building. It's hard. You can go here and read all the features and things. This is getting connected in the next 24 hours for where you hit this, and then you can pay, and then you get vetted. Liz, a satellite phone will work in any country. This is, when we go into the satellite track, this phone right here, this is a case for your cell phone. Your cell phone goes in here. Okay? Your cell phone goes into this case. This is a case. So no matter what cell phone you have, it fits inside this case. And this takes your phone and it has its own battery, everything. It doesn't matter if your phone goes dead. It doesn't matter if you're in the middle of nowhere. You will be able to call everybody. People will be able to watch you on the Survival Track Network and the like. Same thing with the radios. When you have the radios, it turns your cell phone, no matter what, into a handheld, meaning normal radio frequency that no matter what will always work. And you can see and text through people with this, using this device, see where other members are and the like. You'll be seeing people asking about Australia. Las Vegas. You will be seeing a coming commercial from me for Las Vegas about the second show. Okay? I will go over Las Vegas. You'll see a commercial when what's going on with the second show. The second show is going to be 10 times better than the first one, and there's a lot of serious things that we're doing with that show to get prepared, having to do with showing the 32nd floor, and I'm keeping some stuff quiet. I'll leave it alone. Okay? Some real undercover investigative journalism that I'm working on, and it will be just, I want to leave it alone, okay? There's too many people putting out false information about Las Vegas. So anyway, you come here, you can go to the memberships at the top, you'll click this, come in here. A lot of work has been done on this. Kim has done a wonderful job. When you come in here, you'll be put in here when you come in. If you are a member, you click to go here. You'll sign in. 15 plus 4 equals what? 19. This is to make sure you're not, hacking. Log in. John, you're already an Underground member, buddy. I think my internet either just killed out or something. It just dropped. Whoa. My internet just dropped. I'm down to 92 from 500 and change. Oh, there it goes. Sorry about that. It dropped. There we go. So I just signed in. It's nicer than Facebook, as you can see. Pictures are nicer than Facebook. These are the share buttons, your like. You can hover over and you'll see. You can do emojicons. Come down, see your members. This is in a private group for the board group right now. I'm in the main news feed right now. You come over here and you can see personal mentions, favorites, groups. Come over here, view your profile, comes popping up over here, edit, change. Notifications, emails for your inbox, which is also notifications as well. Friendship requests, memberships, invitations, create a group, topics shared, subscriptions, general, all this pops in. If I go to my profile, I can hover over. See, you'll hover over, you can see people's profiles, nicer even than Facebook. Down in the corner down here is chat. I just popped it open. I'm not all the way down the bottom of my screen because of the way I'm zoomed in on the page. So that's just showing a small part. If I put it on, you'll be able to see. That's taller than that. It's just the way I have the page. Let me see if I can just show the whole page. That way you can see it all. Hang on one sec. Okay. So anyway, I'm going to go to my feed right here. This is my feed activity. You can comment on here. Same thing. Put your pictures in your comments, posts. Doesn't matter. Same thing, privacy, where it's going to go. This is the Mandalay Bay, sharing privacy that you want. Over here is your wall, your profile, your membership, notifications, messages, followers, groups, same thing. This is awesome. Pictures are much nicer. The articles show up much clearer. It's not all cluttered like Facebook. Let me go to groups. There's an app for the chat and an app for the group, just like Facebook. I'm in 10 groups right now. There's the MFA Help Group, Survival Group. That photo has to be changed. Silver Group, Gold Group, Sapphire Group, Prayer Group, MFA Board Members Group, Atlas City Group. Here, I'll show you. These are awesome pages. Awesome groups. You can see how classy they are. There's no information in here because we're just testing it, you know, and doing that. Once it's all full, this is really easy. You don't need technical assistance. I'll be doing a training video, just recording. You won't see my face. You'll hear me talk and run through the whole thing. It will be up. No advertising. No advertising in the private group. MFA Business is starting, though. So MFA Business memberships will be starting within a week, too. Roughly a week to 2 weeks. So no one can get in here. No. On private servers. This is all on private servers. This is vetted. Everything is, nobody can hack. Nobody can listen to your conversations. So when you're talking in your own thing, I put up the link for the app. No, you do not need an app for your computer. You only need an app for your mobile devices. So you don't need that. The app is up. We're just waiting for Apple, the other. So then you can go into what members are in the group. It'll show you that. Like here, it's me, Don, Kim, whatever. You go to the main MFA newsfeed up here in the top. It'll bring that back to the dashboard, all your groups, and then you go to all forums. There's a forum for out in here, so when you're in MFA Survival Group main, Platinum is actually just one. This has to be changed. This is my inner circle group. You do discussions. This is something Facebook does not have, which is awesome. You put your topic in, paragraph, what you're talking about, topic tags. They'll be followed in the whole thing. Topic type. You can go into sticky, which will stick up on your screen. It's pretty cool. Status. And then you can notify me of follow-up reply. You can notify yourself of follow-ups via email. You can attach files to it to show what you're discussing and any evidence you find. This is great for investigative journalism, survival information, things like that. Yes, the app is up. There's two apps. There's two apps for this. One for the main site and one for the Messenger app. I shared one of them. You'll be seeing them on the site to do it. Yes, you will need an app with an iPad. Messenger works the same way. Video conferencing, calls, everything. It's the same. Handwrite a message, share my screen, send a sticker, start an audio video broadcast. And we're going to keep improving and improving and improving. MFA officers group. And everybody's in levels of where they are. So nobody can see into any other level either. So if you're not part of one level, you're not seeing another group, you won't even be able to see anything. All on protected private servers and the like. You want to share your post, you just do it here. You can do it statewide. share with a custom text to groups, gold members. You can share it whatever you want that you're part of. I'm in all these groups, so I can do it on that. So I say statewide. I'm going to share it. I hit OK. And we share it. So, sorry, I'm going to share it to, I'll share it to the gold group. And it just shared to the gold group. Yes, gold does see silver. Will having the app get you off Facebook? No, it's just another app. Sapphire sees all, except survival group. This is for officers, for us to discuss things in private. There's groups for... Everything's private in here. This is really easy. Trust me, this is easy. The apps are easy. Just like Messenger and Facebook, it works the same way. There's nothing different, so you're not... I mean, as far as... You're not going to have to see the same thing with the emojicons, tests, like... Whatever. I want to see if I keep this blue areas here or we make it something else. I may. I don't know. We're going to see after the beta testers are put in. So, you can see how nice the posts show up. And you just hover over and it'll show you who's who. No one is in Sapphire group yet. If you're a gold member, you're an underground member. I'm going to say it again. You want to go and see what the group's memberships are, you go to the home page, MFAMembersForum.com, and then you go to the top and you click on memberships. I just showed it. You have your own blogs. You can write anything you want of the above. Shows you all your friends. No, gold group is the same as underground. Yes, Vicky, if you upgrade to Sapphire, there's an annual fee. This shit ain't cheap and it's not free. And private servers to keep people off, government feeds. That's part of why this is this. And we're using this base with what we're doing over the next 30, 60 days in here with live streaming video, doing all these things that we're still adding in here. When that's done, it's going to turn into not this group, but there's going to be the MFA Social. And that's for the public. The first private vetted annual subscription social media platform to compete with Facebook. Yes, Debbie, I will be doing news, same news that I do that. You're going to have an MFA news page in here, everything. Same thing you're seeing on Facebook, you're going to see in here, but you do not have to worry about anything. You're safe. You're safe. Your information is safe. Your photos are safe. We're going to be putting in MFA Kids in here because a lot of members want to put their kids in a safe forum. So we're going to be doing that as well so that it's safe for children. Like I said, just go to MFAMembersForum.com, go at the top, click on memberships, like I showed you, and it'll show you everything that's available for the groups. It's pretty simple, but we have not connected to the payment, so please understand, I'm going to connect to the payment by tomorrow. By tomorrow night, I'm going to release that this is up, memberships are up, and then we're going to be putting in people probably within 24 hours into this group for beta testing for a week. And then launch it, put everybody else in it. And then you're also going to get, if you're an Underground member, you'll get new gold cards. But we're going to give that 30 days to 60 days. So if people want to upgrade to Sapphire, that we don't send, you don't have to wait to get a new card. You can get the whole thing at once. No news platforms can be come into here like Fox or CNN or anybody. You can share their news in here, but they're not part of it. No one's accessing, no major broadcast. This is a private members forum. It's for members only. So you have to understand, Facebook is public, and it's for everybody. This is for members only. Members only. And businesses, part of MFA businesses, we're starting MFA businesses, I told you, when we planned all this, we were going to get into vetted businesses so that their MFA business memberships we're going to be offering to businesses, especially with the survival group and the regular MFA. So they'll have business pages, they'll be vetted, you know that they're safe and you can shop with them or do what you want with them and the like. Yeah, we only build classy stuff. There's a lot yet to do. I mean, it's ready to go, but we're going to be adding no lurkers or predators, as Roberta says. All this well worth the fee. You get notifications of everything. It's, your messenger's safe. You don't have to worry about anyone storing your anything. Nada. Not happening. And that's because it's a private members group. The government can't even get into it without a subpoena. So if you're going through a divorce and your wife wants a copy of your thing, they believe me, they're not going to get it. It would take them forever. Yes, young children would be grandfathered in for Sapphire members. I have to put that on there. So up to a certain age. Everybody will be notified, John, when it's set to go, that you can log in and what your passwords are going to be and things like that. You get the email, you go in, create your password, do your thing, and you're ready to go. We're just waiting on Apple with the app. The apps are created. The ones for Android are done, and in Google Play. I showed it the other day. We're just waiting for Apple to get back to us to put it in, tell us know when it's in the iStore. It's free, but it has to go into, upload apps. And no one can create fake profiles and hard. This is for members only. So on your phone, you have the great thing. You get notifications, all the news that's shared in there, everything. You don't have to. If you want to share news in there, you copy the link and share it in. And we're also registering on the share button network. So when you go to pull up share, so when people want to share to Facebook, Twitter, Google+, LinkedIn, whatever, MFA is going to have one of those. It takes a little while, but we're going to have one of those so you can share right from the main sharing platforms. You have to be approved for it. But I have no doubt we will be approved for it. So you'll be able to go, when you go to share a post from something else, you'll be able to see the MFA button, MFA logo pop up like Facebook, and we're having our designer do one so it's just the MFA, so it's like Facebook, and it's not all this detailed. And you just be able to share in there the same way. Do you think that you'll be asked to do interviews on other news platforms? I've already been asked that. Yes. Brett, this is the MFA Private Members Forum. And there's a chat app in there as well. It's actually it's awesome. Live video, everything. Same as Messenger. Same as Facebook. Going to my wall now. It's not, it has to be transferred over to its main server. When you start to upload all tons and tons of photos, videos, everything. And you have to store this information. Do you know what that costs? You have to store all this information, have this data running in there, all the video uploads, the pictures, everything. So it has to be on a private, specific type server that will handle a live streaming video, all the video uploads, the photos, everything. So that's the biggest thing. I mean, you have to pay for these servers. You have to pay for constant coding and changing and making the site better, like Facebook did. Okay? The links for that have been shared, and you will be able to go right to the page on the home page of MFAMembersForum.com and be able to download the apps from there. Right from the it'll say button download iPhone. iStore, and download Google Play. You click it, it brings you right to the app. You download it. It's already on my phone. I mean, it's already on there. So I'm going to do a very detailed training video that'll be about 15 minutes to show everybody how to use it, how to log in, how to, these are my articles. I haven't done any yet. The forum feature in here is awesome. For what we do here at MFA, I want to do a new article. I go here. You have your own blog on your own site. You can write about anything. Here, let me get rid of this. Even better than here, see? Put the title, pick your category that you want. We have tags just like Facebook, so you can go to MFA News, tag it. It'll follow all the trends, everything that's going on. There's no results because we haven't started any tags. Article content, you can write links, do whatever, drag your files, choose your image, whatever you need. Write your own blog, save it as a draft, put it as new, you can publish it. You have your own email in here, same thing as Facebook. Your media gallery, you can edit, you can even do your own thumbnails for your videos, like this is a video. Yes, John, you got it. Samsung is already up. The Android app for MFA Private Messenger is on there. So I can change the media thumbnail, add it to the album. So I want to choose file, remove the current thumbnail. I'm going to pick whatever to show you. I'll put my picture in Vegas on there. Remove the current thumbnail. Save. Now the thumbnail's different for the video right there. You can upload music here, just like Facebook. Facebook just started doing that. We already have it, all music. You can upload it. You'll be able to search your media library, videos, documents you can even keep in here, likes. And we can't go in and see your shit. So you don't have to, in other words, from the back end, we can't see your it's set up that that's your private stuff. It's in there. No go. The only thing we can do is like cut you out. Bye. Have a nice day. So anyway, you can upload your music, photos. This is my photo. Oh, sorry. This is my photo gallery in here. All. You want to watch a video? Watch how it pops up. Awesome. Can rate it. Do your comments just like Facebook. Test. There you go. Place your comment. You can add pictures, whatever you want. The videos play. If you're on someone's wall, they play like this. If they're in the news feed, they'll play in there. You can tag your photo. Same thing with your options. Set as featured, add the feature, like it. Then you'd run through to the next one. But if it's in the news feed, you don't have to do that. You come up, go to your news feed. Like here. So load more. Active, popular members. Once this is filled in, you'll see tons of, And as I said, as we go along, monthly, there'll be more things added, made better, and the like. Friends. Tomorrow I'm doing a big walkthrough and punch list on this site to get some things fixed and changed that I want. And this is how your videos will play in the news feed, just nicer than Facebook, actually.
Let him go, let him go, let him go, let him go. Come on, Max. You can do it, buddy.
Want to share it? Share it.
Snowballs. He was running out in the snow. Oh my gosh! And they don't want to come off either. That must be.
Yikes.
Come on. You can do it. You can do it. Come on. Hurry. Hurry. Come on. You gotta get inside. You gotta get inside. Oh, you poor thing. You can't walk away.
You crazy dog. All right, guys. That's a wrap. So I'm sure you'll find very pleased with this. Okay? And as I said, it'll continue to get better and better. This is better than what Facebook ever started with. And trust me. And it's going to be continued to be built and built and built and bettered. And we have MFA Social coming out, which is for the public. And it's going to be a mirror of this, but you'll be able to have business pages, public figure pages, and your personal profile pages, just like Facebook. And it's for the public. But they're still locked into, privacy. It's the wave of the future for social media, trust me. Nobody is going to want to continue with Facebook, Twitter, and the like with the government watching everything. The serious censorship that's happening, and it's going to get even worse. It's the way of the future is private, vetted social media. Mark my words. Good night, guys. God bless.